Hey man, what's happening? Cool Water, the digital dope man here. The quick episode, another episode in the Ballroom Chats podcast where we focus on things in the area of entertainment, politics, culture, education, business, and health. Today, just want to briefly talk about something that came across my desk. Many of you may not or have heard, may not know or have heard that Hasbro, the toy company, bought Death Row Records, or they own the Death Row catalog, which in case it was acquired through, I think this is Entertainment One, in a $4 billion deal. So as part of their catalog, they own Death Row Records catalog, which include artists like Dash, Corrupt, Snoop Dogg, Tupac, Dr. Dre, DOC, who else was on the label? Lady of Rage, I think she put a couple of records out on there. They had a few people. So about 6-7 years ago, the label was bought by a white lady. The label was bought by a white lady for like $12 million. I think she bought the masters. So apparently, she must have sold them off, and along with several other people have bought Death Row's catalog over a specific amount of time. Death Row Records their catalog probably ain't worth that much now. It's probably because even Jay-Z's catalog right now ain't worth. I think he bought his catalog at $5 million. And over time they're supposed to age, I believe. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, these songs don't have major impact on the culture like that. Like there's a couple of songs that were always, Tupac songs, Snoop Dogg, his Gin and Juice, and a few other songs will probably continue to transcend the time. But it's only a handful of songs, man, that will carry the weight. Tupac in particular will always be the major catalyst for the label when it comes to music, being probably placed in several different genres like video gaming, movies, and other things, commercials, yada, yada, yada. It'll probably be in that regard. Where Tupac probably will outlast the rest of them. Dr. Dre, he wasn't a rapper, but he did have some rap songs in the Chronic album, and then he produced most of them guys. So Hasbro has acquired Death Row Records in their acquisition from the company that actually had it, which I believe is Entertainment One. Fact check on that. But Hasbro CEO Brian Goldner said the acquisition of E1, which is Entertainment One, adds beloved, story-led, global family brands that deliver strong operating returns to Hasbro's portfolio and provides a pipeline of new brand creation driven by family-oriented storytelling. Through Hasbro, though Hasbro is aiming for more family-friendly programming, the toy maker ends up with the Death Row Records, a division of Entertainment One purchase in 2013. So this is an example of corporate domination. Hasbro just haphazardly kicking rocks while they out there buying up shit, haphazardly comes across one of the most prolific record labels, hip-hop record labels, gangster rap labels in the world. Because now Hasbro Records really don't have nothing. They really don't have no place for it because this is a toy company. But they'll probably tinker with it and see what they can do. But at the end of the day, it's just another example of black folks not having no power. So these dudes, Suge Knight, Dr. Dre, Tupac, DOC, Daz Dillinger, Corrupt, Lady of Rage, RBX, the list goes on, created some of the most prolific music in history. And just like that, it goes down the drain. Because nobody was thinking long term, nobody was thinking ownership and possession for the long term to how do we forward this down for generations so that the kids and the great-great-grandkids can still eat off of that. None of that. Suge Knight in jail now. Dre left, sold all his rights to Suge because Suge was going to take it anyway. Gave him up, moved on. Snoop Dogg got the hell on because his life was on the line, messing around with Suge. Pac ends up getting killed. Daz and Corrupt gets the hell on, goes back to the East Coast because he tired of the nonsense. Your boy Warren G's partner ends up dead. He dies from cancer. So you missing. It's a whole contrived plan. Like, this is really part of the plan. They white folk always do it. They always take back what they give you. Now, the real question would be, why didn't Interscope Records, who was the parent distribution company for Death Row Records, pick it up and put it on their catalog? Pick it up and put it in their portfolio. Because they was responsible for getting the music to the people. They was responsible for distributing the product. You see? But no, Death Row didn't want it on. Jimmy Iovine and Interscope, which I don't know when Jimmy Iovine left Interscope, but they didn't want it on their portfolio. They sells it off. White lady buys it. She holds it, 12 million. She probably leveraged it, got a little money, borrowed against it, because this is just like real estate. It ain't no different. It's intellectual properties, intellectual real estate. Probably borrowed against it. Might have got a loan or two off of it. Might have got 20, 30 million off of it. Then she turns around, flips it, makes her money back plus some, sells it to somebody else. And they money and they catalog is just traveling. Their catalog is traveling from one hand to the next. Like, it ain't nothing. And don't none of these folk got no respect for the culture. Don't none of these folk got no respect for the music because they didn't create it. They don't really give a damn. They thought it might be nice, it sound good, but they don't understand that shit. That's just like Jerry Heller. He didn't understand hip hop. He was working with Easy, but he had the contacts. He had the control of the situation, because without Jerry, there would be no NWA. He was able to walk into Capitol Records. He was able to walk into Columbia. He was able to go get the deal with Priority, who was the new independent startup, and they needed something to really get their label off the ground. And the music was different and strange and misunderstood. And Brian Turner said, I can market this to white men in the suburbs. And once he figured out what market he could hit, then that spawned the era as we know as gangsta rap. Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E. Then you got Ice-T over there with Cop Killer. He over there on the Warner Turner label. And then it's just a whole plethora of babies is born. It was already cats out there doing that. But NWA, that's why they call them the godfathers of gangster rap, because they took their shit to the next level. Jerry Heller and Priority Records took it to the level that it ain't never been took before. Then you start looking at the genealogy and you start seeing, and you come down and you get a Snoop Dogg, then you get a Tupac, then you get other cats, and people still eating off what Death Row did and what Dr. Dre did and what NWA did for many many moons. Take somebody like the Cleveland, Ohio native Bone Thugs and Harmony. They came up under Eazy-E, you know what I'm saying, and Ruthless Records. So this is a prime example of what happens when black folks don't own or control the asset. Here's one of the most prolific rap labels in the world history that puts out some of the most iconic music ever made, and it's being passed around like a football because they don't care. They don't have no respect for that shit. It don't mean nothing to them. They could care less, man. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? To them, it's just another distribution chain. It's just another form of music that they control on the plate of music that they had. And at the end of the day, shit, we can sell and make more money off of it. It don't serve them no purpose to hold it or do anything with it except maybe license it when they could really flip it and sell it. But the question I have again is, why didn't Interscope Records, who was the parent company at the time of Death Row and the distribution, because they might have been Death Row Warner, right? And I'm sorry, it might have been Interscope Warner Records. Why didn't they pick up the catalog and they hold the catalog and put it in their portfolio? Because they don't have no, it's probably better served off the books, because for them it ain't nothing but a debt if it's not making any money. So they sold it to somebody, which I know had to be the white lady, and she probably sold it and flipped it, and somebody else got it, sold it and flipped it. So this is the example of what a lack of powernomics is. Our music as a culture is being raped and robbed, and it's being manipulated and bastardized by folks who don't understand the culture and don't care about the culture. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it is most important that you begin to understand what people say about holding the asset. And it may be a time to sell and it may be a time to hold, but in this case, Death Row Records would have been served better if it would have still been in the hands of somebody like a Suge or Dr. Dre, who could have used it and licensed it out to make different money in different avenues. So this catalog is probably worthless now. Because at one point, Death Row Records was worth like $100 million plus. Now the catalog, if the lady bought it for $12 million, that means it's probably decreasing in value because it's not getting any play in the marketplace. Ain't nobody doing nothing with it on the video gaming side, the movie side, licensing with commercials. It's probably not getting a lot of play. So Hasbro has the company, they own it. They have the catalog and Death Row Records, and they own it, and they're tinkering around with it. But at the end of the day, they're a toy company, and they just happen to kick rocks and pick up one of the greatest gangster rap labels of all time. So this just goes to show you, what you create, you necessarily will lose in the tussle if you don't understand the importance of maintaining your asset to keep it so that you can turn around and flip it and use it and manipulate it long term. Hey man, I'm out. It's Cool Water, the Digital Dope Man. Check me out at ishiphopdead.com. Look for me at the digitaldopeman.com. Peace and stay blessed. Holla.